All right, John and Jim with you. The Padres limp into the All-Star break, a 2-6 homestand, another series loss, this time to the Atlanta Braves, falling on Sunday 6-3. So we react to really a disappointing homestand, disappointing series. Padres are 50-49. If the season was over, they'd be out. One game back with 63 to play. All-Star game coming. MLB draft obviously underway. Trade deadline is coming in a couple of weeks as well. So a lot to react to over the next hour or so on the Sunday night edition of the Wrap-Up Show. So if you are here, please subscribe. Year-round content for Padres fans, please subscribe. I have pinned a link in the top of the chat. You guys have a chance to do something that even Jim Russell hasn't done, which is join our Discord server. If you don't know anything about Discord, either do we. So you can join. It's 24/7, 365 Padres discussion with Wrap-Up Show community members. Join. It's free. If you're a member on the Wrap-Up Show, we're going to figure out a way to have a premium board as well. So if you want to become a member of the Wrap-Up Show, you can click that join button down below. You'll have premium access on Discord as well. But it's free, so sign up. Smash the like button for us. You can follow us on X at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. We appreciate all your super chats. Click the $sign below the chat box. So a lot to react to. We'll get into everything, Jim. This is a game that they led in, and then all of a sudden the bullpen kind of implodes. Stephen Kolek specifically, who had pitched well but allowed 3 runs there. The Travis d'Arnaud home run, he hits 2. And the Padres limp. I think that's the right word. They limp into the All-Star break 1 game over 500 after coming home 5 games over 500 or whatever it was. But 2-6 homestand was not what Padres fans were expecting, that's for sure.
They were 49-43, right? So they were 6 games over.
They were 6 over after the game 1 win of the homestand. They came home 5 over. Yeah.
Right. That's the high point. After that Friday night, Manny goes 4 for 5, the walk-off.
Correct.
That was the high watermark of the year, 6 over. And I remember those discussions we had. Dude, what if they get to like 7 over at the break? Yeah, just pipe dream. There's no way to put it other than a squandered opportunity and a horrible taste in your mouth heading into the All-Star break. Schultz can say whatever he wants about how he feels really good about this team, but I'm sorry, you can't feel good about what just happened the last 7 games. You just can't. I don't care who you are. You're 6 games over, you're 12-3 in your last 15, and then you lose 6 of 7 at home to finish off the first half. You know, it wasn't like all of a sudden on Saturday, Manny Machado gets injured and he's out for the remainder of the first half. Like, no, they just decided that they're going to start playing shitty baseball. Like, that's what happened. After Friday's game, they just decided, for whatever reason, yeah, we're just going to start playing crappy baseball for the remainder of the first half. Like, I don't know what happened, because all of a sudden they just couldn't score any runs. This team's offense went in the tank. Pitching was fine. They didn't have any blow-ups. Like, I thought Randy Vasquez was fine today. It's the bullpen's fault primarily. Dylan Cease was really good yesterday. Matt Waldron, he goes 7 innings, gives up 4 runs. Like, not ideal giving up 4 runs, but he gave you 7 and score some runs for him. Like, the offense just went in the tank, complete nosedived after that Friday game versus Milwaukee. They had 1 game in the final 7 where they scored over 5 runs, which was yesterday. And I look, I know that they are in it, and and truthfully, they're probably they're fine. They're not like in a horrible position, right? It's just like, if you don't make the postseason, there's a lot of stretches in this year where you're going to look at, and this isn't one of them, where you go, another squandered opportunity.
This is the stretch right now. I know there was the earlier stretch where you get swept at home by someone like Colorado. I know they've been swept by the Angels, but to get home and play the way they were playing, and for it to end with a dud like this. And by the way, to follow up on your point, they haven't scored more than 5 runs since that walk-off. And they scored 4 yesterday.
Oh, I thought they scored 6. My bad.
They scored 4 yesterday. And by the way, the only time they scored 5 during this 1-6 stretch, they lost 7-5 to the Diamondbacks in extra innings. That game, it was wild and back and forth that the Padres had a chance to win. I mean, consider that They were 6 over, Jim. Like, listen to this. They're 6 over with the bases loaded, nobody out in the 10th. A week ago Saturday.
Yeah. Another walk-off incoming.
Absolutely capitalized on time and time again through the first 90 games of the year. They had won that game 6, 7 times, and they didn't. It was their first extra innings loss. And from that point on, it's been a complete tailspin. Now, they did have yesterday, thankfully. I mean, if yesterday didn't happen, this is complete panic mode. And I don't think it's panic mode, but this is bad taste in mouth mode. You're going into the All-Star break with Luis Ariz hurt, Fernando Tatis Jr., no timetable. Yu Darvish, no timetable. This is from Mike Schilt, by the way, talking about the timetable. They don't have a return date for any of those players. They do want to Ariz. Ariz will be fine. He'll be back, but he hasn't been effective. And you're in a complete dogfight. There are 8 teams, Jim, fighting for 2 spots. The Padres are one of those 8 teams. Okay, 2 of them are going to make it, 6 are not. And the Padres are not in a desirable spot. Now, they're not in a terrible spot, far from, but it's not desirable. They're a game out. They're a half game better than the Pittsburgh Pirates, a team that they're going to see 6 times coming up. And they're a game behind teams that have played good baseball. And now they're trailing a team like, or right in the same spot as a team like Arizona that's played much better baseball. So if nothing else, your antennas as a Padres fan should be raised. You got the trade deadline that's so valuable coming up because of the injuries that you have, and the 9-game road trip. We said get 3, 4, 5 over so you could have a 4 and 5 trip and live with it.
Mhm.
They still have a 4 and 5 trip and live with it. They'd come home 500 if that happens, but they're playing the LA Dodgers and it's the trade deadline at that point. So you got no margin. You had margin a week ago. The margin's gone because of the way you played. Simple as that.
Yeah, and you've put a lot of pressure on yourself because, like this road trip coming up here, dude. I mean, it could. I'm not gonna say it's gonna decide your season, but it could put you in a hole, like heading into the last 2 months of the year. It won't decide their year, even if they go. Let's go 3 and 6. All right, they'll be 2 under 500. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't decide their season, but it sure puts them in a position where time's running out. And like I've been saying, that August 1st, once August 1st hits, that 15 games, then you're going to have to like really go like 10 and 5 at worst in those 15 games. If you end up having a bad road trip and you come home and you play bad against the Dodgers, even though you played well against the Dodgers this year. But that's what they're looking.
Really struggling like the Padres are, but not to the same extent overall. But yeah,
but that's what they're looking at. You know, you have a bad road trip here. You go 3 and 6 on this road trip, and you come home when you split with the Dodgers. You're 2 games under 500 on August 1st at the deadline. Whoever they get, you're 2 games under. That 15-game stretch, John. I mean, look, you're like you got to go like 11 and 4 almost. It feels like, to take advantage. And if you don't really have any soft spots left in your schedule after that, guys, besides 1 series here and 1 series there.
No, I agree. I mean, here's how I look at this right now. I personally don't think they will go 3 and 6 or worse on the road, but I cannot guarantee it. And based on the way they're playing and the injuries they're dealing with, it's at least a concern. Now, I'm just telling you, I personally think they'll get up off the mat and they'll win a series in that 3-series stretch. I think they could win a series in DC. That's very reasonable. We'll see if they can steal a series somewhere else. Look at this hypothetical, Jim. Hear me out. You lose series to Baltimore and Cleveland, 2 games to 1, and you win the Nats series, 2 games to 1. That's a 4 and 5 trip. That's fine. Like, you'd probably sign up for it. And by the way, they're capable of doing better than that. They're capable of going on the road and winning 5 times. They are. We've seen it before on the road with this team. It's just everything is piled up on this team where, like, we'd be lying to ourselves if we said Tatis, Darvish, Musgrove, and Ariz's struggles weren't impactful here. Of course they are. Mike Schilt's talking about a postgame today, saying all teams are dealing with injuries and we're dealing with our share, and we need to kind of get healthier. He talked about it today. We're going to get healthier in the second half. That's going to be to our advantage. He recognizes it. If they played the next 63 games without the guys I just referenced, they're not going to the postseason unless AJ Preller, is moving heaven and earth at the trade deadline. So I just think that the 9 games coming up are crucial. And I hope they pick themselves up off the mat. But I also recognize, forget about the 9 games. It's just the stretch to come without health. I mean, Darvish, Musgrove, Tatis, say it over and over and over again. And it's crucially, I mean, it's just crucial. And I don't know how you overcome that for the next 63 games. They did somehow for that 15-game stretch where everything was going right, but now they've come back to earth. And I don't know if they're going to find that 12-3 stretch again without those guys.
Well, here's the thing. They didn't lose anybody else. I mean, they have all the guys that have been playing the last 7 days, John, were here during the 12-3 stretch.
I know, but
it's not like,
but we all said, but I said, you can't, what you're doing over 10 games, you can't do over 50. Like it's going to catch up to you, right? Pitching Adam Azier and not having Fernando Tatis Jr.
Well, more importantly, the amount of walk-offs they had, which a lot of them resulted in either them blowing a lead or whatever the case is, like, again, you can't always count on, comeback victories all the time. It's just not gonna work like that. I just want to here. Okay, let me check here. So, you know how we said that, and we will keep on saying this as Manny goes, the team goes. There's no better, I guess, reasoning to that or better argument than this right here. In that 15-game stretch, John, where the team went 12-3, this is what Manny Machado did. In those 15 games, he hit 377 with an 1105 OPS, 6 home runs, 16 RBIs.
Mm-hmm.
They went 12-3. No coincidence at all. In the last 7 games, John, this is what Manny Machado did. In the last 7 games, he hit 231 with a 695 OPS, 1 home run, 3 RBIs, and the team went 1-6. I mean, it is literally as simple as Manny goes, the team goes. And that's what I just said there. No better example than that.
Completely fair and well said and astute. But if that is the case, they have problems, and let me explain why. His 377 stretch isn't sustainable. And the truth is, the player that he is 99 games in Machado. Tell me what his numbers are, and tell me what his WAR is. Because 99 games is way more than the 15 games.
Right. I know,
and I'm not saying he can't be better for the final 63, but he can't be the guy you just told me he's going to be. He could have another stretch like that, but you tell me that he can't have a 10-game stretch where he hits 230 because the team's going to go in the tank, then they got massive problems because out of 63, there's likely a 10-game stretch where he hits 230.
Well, what I am telling you, though, is he can have a good month for you.
Yes, he just had
right. I mean, he can have a good month, and the team can go 15-10. Like, they can do that. But I get what you're saying. The problem is, even if they go, say they finish the end of July here, and they're at 500. I don't know if that's possible, but let's just say, just for argument's sake, they're at 500.
Well, you're just saying because of odd or even number of games, right? In terms of what's possible. Yeah.
Correct. And you get to August, say Manny just goes on a tear. All right. I don't know how many exactly games are in August, but just for argument's sake, there's say 25. All right. They go 15-10, like I was just talking about. Now they're 5 games over heading into September. And if Manny, and that's great, that's good. But then I get to your point of like, what if then Manny falls off and they have a month where they go like 12-13? Like, is 4 games over going to really do it? Maybe. Is 83 wins going to really do it? If that's the case. Yeah, 83, 4 games over. Is that going to do it? Maybe. But that's not like a very like confident number here. Like, especially with all the other teams that are in it as well. Like, you tell me 83, if you tell me right now they have 83 wins, I wouldn't feel like as confident as if you told me that 85 or 86.
Well, yeah, but here, let me change that sentence for you. If you told me 83 wins today, I wouldn't be as confident as if you told me 83 wins a month ago. Because when I looked at it a month ago, no one in the series of 8 teams was playing over 500 essentially.
Things
But
change
now,
quickly. Right.
but now it's completely changed. St. Louis is 4 games over. There are other teams now that are over 500. There are teams that have gotten back to 500, like Pittsburgh. Arizona is over 500. And by the way, these teams that are in the hunt, not all 8 of them, but there will be a number of buyers in there. So those teams theoretically can get better. I mean, I look at it right now, and if I could take it or leave it 83 and 79, I'd leave it thinking I need 84, which is what it took last year. And again, the worst of the 2 leagues last year took 84. I'm going to assume again, in the worst of the 2 leagues, it will take 84 or more. I don't know if it'll take 85. I think 84 is realistic. I don't think you'd feel safe at 83 and 79. In fact, I know you wouldn't feel safe, and I know you're going to need some good fortune, probably like the final week of the season, if you end up with 83 wins and you're in the postseason. Would be my guess.
Yeah, the number where I feel pretty confident is 86. 84, I mean, just because that's what got in last year doesn't mean that's going to get in this year, right? But it is like a number that you feel okay about. Anything below 84, I'm just like, you're rolling the dice. Who knows? I mean, it's not a great percentage, honestly. And I don't know how tiebreakers would work or anything like that. I mean, here's one tiebreaker that you got to be concerned about is what's your record against Arizona and San Francisco? You know, like those are going to be crucial.
Still to be determined. Yep.
And by the way, I was talking about August 1st and that stretch of games that are so important for this team. Well, Pirates are playing some pretty good baseball right now. They just won 4
Really
straight
good.
to end the break to finish off the break at 500. You're going to play them 6 times in that 15-game stretch starting August 1st that I've been talking about. What if you face Paul Skeens twice in there? Like you easily could. And I don't know if Pittsburgh's even going to be in it at that time, or maybe they are.
At that time. It's only it's 10 games away.
Yeah, you're right. So
you know what's going to happen? They go 4 and 6. Who cares? They're still in it.
Dude, this thing is, this is gonna be a nail biter. Like,
yeah, it's gonna be a nail biter.
I know after 12 and 3, we're like, all right, they stabilized. Finally, here we go. Play good baseball. And they said, nah, we're not gonna do that. And it's gonna make everything that much more stressful and difficult. And every loss is gonna feel like the end of the world. I don't expect them to roll off 7 in a row. I just don't. And even if they do roll off 7 in a row, who says they're not going to give it right back? Because that's what this team has done all year.
I just look at some of these guys going into the break, and they probably could use it. But I also look at it like, coming out of the break, you got to be better than you've been recently. I'll give you an example. And someone mentioned in the chat, and I looked it up. Like Jackson Merrill in his last 7 games, speaking of this 1-6 slide, is hitting like $150. Yeah. And again, was that going to happen at some point? Yeah, probably. But here's a guy that he's going to be in the All-Star game. I'm sure it'll be a hectic couple of days. Like, he's got to get back to the guy we saw to start the year and then had that torrid stretch. I mean, had a 2-week stretch where he was like among the better players in baseball. So Jackson Merrill's one of those guys. And to your point, Manny Machado's got to be consistent in the second half. I think I'm taking like B Manny over the D, A, D, A grade-wise Manny. Like, I just need consistently solid production out of Machado. His power's up. There's no question about it. His power's up. But he's going to have to hit for average as well for this team in the second half of the year. And I don't know, man. I mean, Profar has been brilliant, but he has come back to earth a little bit, if we're being honest. His OPS is 870. Amazing by his standards. We told you he wasn't going to have a 900 OPS, and he's not. If he finishes at 850, I think it's going to be really impressive. So, like, where are you going to continue to turn? Like, Bogarts has had a nice couple of days. That's good. 2 multi-hit games in the 3 games, or since he returned, didn't even start yesterday. So Bogarts is encouraging, but I don't know. It's just like, is Profar going to continue to do this? And is Machado going to be consistent in the second half? And when the hell is Fernando Tatis Jr. coming back? Because I'm telling you, that's a huge part of the second half for the San Diego Padres.
I mean, you mentioned Profar. His last 15 games, John, that's more the Profar that we.
So what is it? It feels like it, but what is it? What has it been?
Guess what it is. Or was the last 15 games?
I would say like 260, 345 on base, and hold on, 399 slug.
246, 306 on base, 421 slug.
Okay.
And truthfully,
Yep.
like this is nothing against Profar. I'm just telling you, like when they signed Profar, those were the kind of numbers I think we all expected him to have this year. No one expected him to do what he has done, right? But now you are seeing more of the Profar that I think everybody was expecting instead of the all-star Profar that carried this team for 2.5 months. And over these last 7 games, John, he's been awful. I mean, he's hitting 179 over his last 7 here with a 207 on base. And I just think that if Jurickson Profar is in the tank, and then you have Manny Machado not playing well, and you have Luis Ariz not playing well, and he's also hurt, and then Jackson Merrill. I mean, this entire team went ice cold, essentially, after they walked off the Diamondbacks that Friday night, which is like, I know it shouldn't be surprising because that's who they are this year, but how they were playing, just to have an abrupt stop to this offense is just crazy.
It is crazy. Let's get to some of these supers. And guys, if you're here, please subscribe here on Content for Padres fans. We're into the All-Star break. There's a lot to react to. Padres have made picks in the 2024 MLB draft. They have guys heading to Texas for the All-Star game. The trade deadline is now about 2 weeks away. In fact, when they come home next, we're on the deadline. When they face the Dodgers, like they're not going to be home when Preller theoretically is making moves between now and the next time they return to take on the LA Dodgers. So it's a very eventful couple of weeks coming up. I appreciate everyone being here. Again, please subscribe here on Content for Padres fans. If you want to join that brand new Discord server, Talk Padres 24/7, 365, click that link pinned at the top of the chat or click it in the description down below. And let's get to these super chats. Just click the $ below the chat box. We'll get to every single super chat. JD Gasher, thank you. He says, who needs to break more, Padres or Dodgers? Both teams face planted recently. Padres lose 6 of 7. Dodgers lose 10 of their last 15. Both need to recover. I'd say it's the team that's behind the other, and that's San Diego. Yeah, the Dodgers, it's been very surprising to see the state of the Dodgers, but they're 7 games up on the Padres. Now, they were supposed to be historically good. I'm sure their fans are panicking to some extent. This does not look like a team that's going to win the World Series, but it's July. It's not October, so a lot can change, and the trade deadline could determine that as well. But if you ask me who would I rather be in the shoes of, I'm taking the team that's 7 games better than the other, if I'm going to be honest.
The thing with the Dodgers, and the Padres seem to not understand how to do this, or they just can't do it, is the Dodgers always get out to good starts or always have these big leads in the division. 7 games is not a lot, but it is a lot because the Dodgers, I don't expect them to be in the tank like this for the rest of the year. So they got out to a big lead in the division. They had all the leeway in the world to have this horrible stretch here and still be in like really good, comfortable positioning. The Padres had an opportunity to feel really good about their standings in the wild card race, right? And hell, maybe even be looking up at the Dodgers and be like 2 or 3 games back because the Dodgers have just fallen off a cliff and you were playing your best baseball. And instead of capitalizing on that, you also shit the bed, And so for Dodgers fans, I get it. Like they're freaking out. But you know what they'll probably do at the deadline? They'll go get a frontline starting pitcher, and whoever goes and tries to get that starting pitcher, they're just going to have better prospects to give, and they'll most likely get them. We talk about Garrett Crochet a lot. I don't know if you saw the report, John, that the Padres made an offer for Garrett Crochet, but the White Sox quickly turned that down.
Shot it down.
Probably because, no surprise. Ethan Salas and Leo DeVries probably weren't in the deal. And if those guys aren't in the deal, probably not going to get Garrett Crochet. But you know what the Dodgers have? The Padres don't. Way better depth in the organization to probably go out and trade a top prospect to get Garrett Crochet. And Who cares about that? If they get Garrett Crochet, they get Garrett Crochet. It's not like the Padres had a visions of a division title anyway. But as for the Padres go, it's not just Garrett Crochet. It's like every starting pitcher that everybody wants. And you got the Diamondbacks, you got Arizona, maybe San Francisco, you got Atlanta, you got the Mets, Philly, Milwaukee, Baltimore, Yankees, Cleveland, Twins, Royals. All of those teams are going to need starting pitching. Every team in baseball needs starting pitching. And you, and by you, I mean the Padres, are probably not going to be able to compete with a lot of those teams for those starting pitchers.
Well, they can compete. It's like how many chips you want to put in the center of the table. They might not have Leo DeVries or Ethan Salas in their deal for Garrett Crochet now. How badly do you want them? And I'm not advocating to move those prospects in order to get Garrett Crochet because I haven't done the deep dive on it. I'm not saying I would do it or wouldn't do it. Circumstances change each and every day based on where you are in the standings, what the health of your team is. But the Padres have the capital. They have the resources. I don't know if they have a willingness or desire to use them between now and the trade deadline like other teams are going to have. Your point's valid. It's going to be a seller's market. You're going to have high antes to get high-level returns. But we'll see if the Padres are willing to do that or not. By the way, their whole system isn't only Salas and DeVries. Your point's spot on. To get some of these players, you're going to need to include one of those players. They also have very good pitching talent in the higher levels of the minor leagues, I would say, and Dylan Lesko and Robbie Snelling, guys that aren't, in theory, that far away from the major leagues. So I think they have some capital to work with. The question is, do they have enough, and are they willing to move guys like Salas or DeVries in an effort to improve this team? I'm skeptical that they are, and I understand that, but we'll see. Caden, thank you for the super chat. He says, if the team keeps piling on losses, does Preller survive the deadline? Yes. Haven't heard from Grupner or ownership in a while. Yes. Yes. Right. There's no scenario where AJ Preller is out. They go 1-8 on the road trip. That is actually an interesting conversation. I don't want to have that conversation. But you go 1-8 on the road trip and you're in the midst of a 2-14. Interesting. Nobody wants to forecast that, nor do I think they're going to do that. I say no chance in hell, Jim, but the way I just said it, you come out flat and you don't win a game on the road or go 1-8. Who the hell knows?
I literally don't even want to think about that because I know if that were to happen,
it would be crazy.
It would be DEFCON 1.
Yeah, it would be DEFCON 1 if that did happen.
Yes, it would be pivot, sell, potentially fire. But if you fire, then you're not selling because you don't have a general manager. And do you really? It just if you're going to fire this guy at the end of the season, why are you letting him trade off assets like Hassan Kim and Dylan Cease? It would nightmare scenario for everybody involved. Not the best case, but if this team were to make a change, you want it to happen in the offseason, not at the deadline. That's just disaster.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. In terms of having heard from Grupner, I think Grupner actually has spoken with the media. I actually stumbled on something on YouTube recently with Eric Grupner on it, and it was within the last handful of days. Ownership, you're right, but that's because we've only heard from ownership publicly one time since the passing of Peter Seidler.
Yeah.
And that was Eric had said on day 1 or day 2 of spring training, maybe February, during spring training in Peoria. So it's been a very long time, but then again, he hasn't spoken for the better part of the last year. So I don't know if we can read into that or not, to be honest with you. All right, let's get back to this conversation in a moment. I do want to remind our viewers about our longtime partner here on the wrap-up show, our great friend and title sponsor, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. If you have an insurance need, get in contact with Mark. He is our title sponsor for a reason. He is a great insurance agent. How do we know it? Because we do insurance with him. I've got homeowners, earthquake, and life insurance with Mark. 3 policies. He has saved my family so much time and money. He can save your family time and money, $750 or more just by switching your insurance policy to Mark. He's a great agent, great service and communication, checks in on you all the time. Happy birthdays, checks in on you if something's going on in the neighborhood or the community. He's a great insurance agent, and I had to file a claim a couple of years ago. We had a flood in here. He took care of everything. It saved us so much time and money, and he does everything: auto, home, renter's life, earthquake, whatever you need. Mark's going to take care of you. Just click the link in the description down below, And you can get to his website, which you see on screen, and you can get free quotes online or free quotes by calling Mark. He'll talk to you about the Padres. He's a diehard Padres fan, a native San Diegan, and has supported this channel since day one. We don't get this channel off the ground without Mark Nimitz. So if you support the channel, please get in contact with our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz, by clicking the link in the description down below.
Yeah, all his information is on the ticker there, mnimitz@farmersagent.com. When you reach out to our buddy Mark, let him know that John and Jim from the Wrap-Up Show sent you. John, I didn't see this. I don't know if you saw this. Manny did speak post-game to Marty.
I did see that.
Did you hear what he said?
I heard some of it because, well, Darnay played some of it for us actually an hour ago.
No, not Profar. Manny.
Manny spoke. Yeah, no, Manny was in there for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, we didn't hear Manny when we were with Darnay tonight. We only heard Profar.
Okay. What did he say?
I don't know. I'm asking you if you want to play it or not.
Yeah, there was something from Marty, right? That she. So I watched all of Schilt. I watched 7 minutes and 14 seconds of Schilt because Marty posted it this afternoon. I watched the entire thing.
Yeah, your eyes will glaze over if you watch all.
He said he's really, really pleased with where they are.
Yeah,
like that's a little bit of a stretch, but okay.
Yeah, okay.
Are you saying Marty has it on YouTube or no?
She has it on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'll pull it up. I'm happy to do that.
Because I know Profar spoke, and I love what Profar said. I never like what honestly Schilt says post game if they lose 6 or 7. Like, yay! I mean, give me a break, dude. How can you not be like, look, we had a real opportunity at the end of the first half. We're playing some really, really good baseball. And we squandered that opportunity, and that's on us. Glad the break is right now. We'll recharge the batteries. We have a tough road trip coming up, but I feel confident about these guys. We're doing some good things, and we're going to play some really good baseball. Like, you just can't say that ever.
No, and he definitely did not say that. Now, he said it hasn't all been positive, but he said he likes where this team is at this point, and he thinks they're going to get healthier. I mean, for whatever it's worth, he always says the same thing. He thinks this is the 27 Yankees, even though they're the 24 Padres and they're 50 and 49, like every other team in baseball. This is from Marty. Find her on YouTube, Marty Time TV. Great resource for Padres fans. We appreciate her allowing us sharing some of her video. So let's take a watch and a listen to the conversation with Manny Machado in the clubhouse.
I know that's like exactly halfway, but how would you assess where you guys are right now going into the break and setting up for the second half?
I think we're in a good position. We put ourselves in a great position to go out there and compete the second half and leave it all out there.
How important will these 2 days be, guys like yourself, Luis, rest up, knowing what you're going through, and for that second half push?
Yeah, I mean, the break is always great. You take a couple of days off, kind of hit the refresh button, and come back, ready for the second half. So I know a lot of people in here, especially our team. I mean, all around the league, everyone's banged up, but for ourselves to kind of regroup, kind of hit that reset button, it's going to kind of feel good for us, and just kind of get our mindset ready for that second half.
Does it feel like you guys have played more games than anybody else?
I mean, not really. I mean, I think at this point, it just is what it is. It's a lot of baseball, and we're just glad we made it to the second half, to the first half. Healthy and good. A couple injuries here and there, but overall, we played some really good baseball in that first half. There's a lot to learn from it, and obviously grow. So we're going to continue that in the second half, and put ourselves in a better position.
Really good baseball. Also, like some rough patches, losing streaks in the last 6 or 7. I know you faced some good pitchers in this homestand, but how do you assess losing 6 of the last 7?
I mean, we're not even thinking about it. I think overall we had a good first half. We played a lot of good baseball, and we did a lot of great things. We did a lot of bad things as well, but we learned from those, and we turned them around pretty quickly as a team. So as a group, I think that's all we could ask for, is how we bounce back from those losses, how we bounce back from those errors or mental errors, and move forward with how can we get better. And this group has been great at it all year.
30 seconds sellout of the season today at Petco Park. How do you feel about how you guys have played at home and the support you received from fans?
I mean, just playing at home is awesome. I mean, I think we've gotten a great support with our fans. They've come out here and, given us the energy and given us everything that we needed to go out there and perform every single night. So it's been fun, and, hopefully it continues, and, we continue to play the baseball we've been playing, for the second half. Just gonna enjoy this break and kind of take that break off and come back in the second half ready to play baseball and win some games. I think, overall, I think this group wants to win. We have our goal, which is to make it to the postseason and make it deep into the postseason and bring a championship to the city. And that's our goal, and we're going to continue to do that. So, our focus in the second half is going to be that.
Manny, hey, dude, no, Manny, you can't talk about expectations, bro. You can't mention the word expectations. Right. You can't mention postseason or World Series, dude. That's not what are we doing here?
Yeah, honestly, the part of it, my big takeaway in that is like when he was asked by Marty, like, what's it like to play in front of 40,000 people every game or whatever she said. It's like, it's great. They're 26 and 28 at home. That is unbelievable. Like, what an indictment to be 26 and 28 at home. It has nothing to do with what Manny just said there, but that's unbelievable. We talk about things you've given away if you don't make the postseason at the end of the year. We've said this before too. It is very rare in the history of baseball for a team to be a 500 home team, let alone below 500. It has happened because there's more teams to get in. But it's very rare in the history of the sport to be 500 or worse at home and get into the postseason. And they're walking a fine line, dude. 26 and 28. Like, they've played a ton of home games. I mean, how many? They've got 27 left. They have 27 home games left. That's it. And they're 2 games under 500. Like, get it together, guys, at home. You just went 2-6.
Yeah.
In front of how many? 8 times 40 in front of 330,000 people? You went 2-6. That's crazy.
Yeah. You can make the postseason if you have like a 38 and 43 home record. Or wait, 42? No,
38 and 43. I mean, it's happened like one time ever.
But you need to have you need to
have,
you need to have an amazing away record. They're only 24 and 21 on the road. You're not like the greatest team on the road ever. I mean, you were playing like it at one point when you were like 19 and 10, and then you immediately lose 8 in a row. They just love giving back any good that they have done this year, like right away. They love it. They have like a sick obsession with being at 500, and it's frustrating. And who knows? Maybe they'll have all the last laugh because they will make the postseason. They will have a deep run. But I tell you what, you lose 6-7, and someone asks you, "Hey, man, how is that disappointing to play such good baseball and then finish off the first half losing 6-7? It doesn't matter."
Yeah.
Like, what?
Great.
It's fine.
And I think he might have said, Schultz said the same thing. I think he said, I don't know if he said it was a good first half or a great first half. Guys, you got to look yourself in the mirror, like Moises says here. Thank you, Moises, for the super chat. They're 50 and 49. And he says they're a good average team. I mean, that's kind of average, isn't it? I get upset now when they're over 500. Prediction time, are they making the postseason? This is obviously the $100 million question or whatever. Like, to say it was a great first half is disingenuous. I mean, truthfully, they are where they should be. They should not be better than this. They stole games in the first half, and they played poorly as well at home. Like, is anyone here right now watching live on replay like, man, they should be better than 50 and 49? Not from what I saw. They've had injuries. They've overcome deficits. If anything, they should be 49 and 50 or 48 and 51 with some of the rabbits they've pulled out of hats this year and some of the injuries they've overcome. That's a credit to them. But to say they're great or it was a great first half, they are who we thought they were. Like, they're 50 and 49. If you've watched all 99 games, you really think they should be 60 and 39, you'd be lying to yourself. This is who they should be.
I mean, there's like, Schulte always loves to pull out the most positive stats possible. And there's a lot of really good positive stats. Like, don't get me wrong. There's things offensively that they've done for the first 99 games that last year's team could only dream of doing, frankly. But it's a yin and yang, dude. You have all these really, really good offensive numbers for things that last year's team couldn't even get to. But then you look at a lot of other things like your bullpen, your starting pitching, it's like those aren't good. those aren't as good as you need them to be. And so it all evens out. You can say how great this team is, Schilt, and how much you love this team and this and that. You're 50-49. Your record is what it says you are. Don't tell me the sky's green when it's blue. I'm sorry, you're a 500 team. And oh, by the way, I know he liked to pull this line, so I'll pull it too. If the season ended today, Mike, you're out of the postseason. I know he loved to use that earlier in the year. Well, if the season ends today, we're in the postseason. Well, guess what? Season ended today, you're out and you're fired. So, like, I mean,
It's true.
like, you start living in reality, maybe, and then these crazy bad stretches maybe don't happen. Maybe if you do live in reality, Mike, and you do understand kind of like what your team is and how you maybe need to push some different buttons at times, then you wouldn't lose 6 of 7 and you wouldn't have crazy 5-game losing streaks, instead of living in a fantasy world where everything is great all the time.
I agree with you. Let's get to some of these supers that are rolling in. Guys, if you're here, subscribe. You're on content for Padres fans. Smash the like button for us. Follow us on X at John Schaefer at Jim Russell SD. We appreciate the supers. Just click the $sign below the chat box. Like Murray. Thank you, Murray. We appreciate you. He says, talk is cheap, man. He'd be a leader. He led with his bat for 15 games. He really did. He was one of the best players in baseball over that 15-game stretch. There's no question about it. They played great. But, 99 games in, you've seen elite Manny for 15% of the time, right? Would we all agree? 15 of the 99 games, he's been elite. I'm sure there's another series of games where he's been above average. There's a series of games where he's been average. And there's a wide swath of games where he's been below average or bad. So you're 99 games in. He's had an elite 15-game stretch. I don't know what it's going to take, to your point, Jim, like in the second half. It's going to take a really good August because they got to be positioned.
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to worry about September. He's got to position them by continuing what he's done by and large here over the last month. Yeah, the last week's been bad. If the next 30 games are good, Manny, they'll be quote-unquote fine. Okay? They'll be heading into September, quote-unquote fine. Couple of games up on 500, if not more. If the next 30 games are like a lot of this year, they are in trouble. In fact, I would also say this. What's more important, trade deadline acquisitions or just their health? This is obvious for any team, but like just getting back the idea of like Musgrove or Tatis or having a healthy Arise. Like, I'd much prefer Tatis Arise being impactful in the second half than whatever they can do at the deadline. That's all fool's gold stuff. Oh, man, they got this great. No, they didn't. It's 50 games. It's a new organization. Very rarely does that pay huge dividends where you're going to win 5 more games now because of the deadline. Go get Toddy back. Go get Arise healthy. Get one of these pitchers back and let them lead you to the postseason. Because asking Garrett Crochet to lead you to the postseason is very wishful.
Truthfully, I don't know if they enter September at 500, if that's going to like be good enough. Because what if you enter September 500, okay, and you could easily be 5 or 6 back just because the other teams in front of you could, like the Cardinals, the Mets, the Diamondbacks, right? Like, I think those 3 teams to me are the most scary. I don't believe in Pittsburgh. Paul Skeens, amazing. I just don't think that the last week of the season they're going to be in it. I really don't. I think the Giants are also fool's gold as well, even though Blake Snell looks like Blake Snell from last year, the last 2 starts. And if you get to if you're at 500 entry September, John, and you're like 4 back, that's like a real pot. Like that could happen. When's this? Tell me a time this team has like overcome the odds. Like, hey, we trailed by this many games to a wild card spot, and we overcame and we had a crazy good month and we made it in. Like they backed their way in 22. If anybody remembers, guys, they backed their way in. Now they had a great postseason run until the NLCS, but they truthfully backed their way in to the postseason in 22. 20 doesn't, whatever. And besides that, nothing. So You get to September, like 4 games out, final wild card spot. The team.
Is this Manny's?
I don't know.
I agree. Is this Manny's WAR for the year? 0.9.
Let me double check on this, John.
Yeah, it's 0.9. I just looked
It's
it up.
0.9. It's 0.9.
So, I mean,
His
multiply
OPS
that,
plus is 109.
which is 9% better than league average. So he's been better. He because he was well below league average, and maybe he's trending better than a 1.6, which is what he's pacing for in WAR. But maybe the trend lines are better than that. Maybe he finishes at 2.1. Yeah, no doubt. Although she'll probably be like back in college at that point, like gym meets in August. But a 1.6 WAR for Manny Machado is nowhere near good enough. 2 years ago, when he was an MVP candidate, like he should be, as a 31-year-old. Now he's 32. I don't know what his WAR was. It was 6 plus. Like that's a big drop off from a 6 WAR player to a 1.6 to 2 WAR player here in 2024. So I mean, they're gonna need a big second half. I mean, I'm not saying anything that people don't realize. They got to have a bigger second half for Manny than we've seen through 99 games. Where you at Productions? Thank you for the super chat. He says, has Manny been drinking the Schilt juice? LOL. They're 50-49, and there's major concerns with this team and their health. Like so delusional, I think is what he's saying there. I mean, there's more questions than answers. There's no question about that. Heading to the road for whatever the order is, Cleveland, DC, Baltimore, at 50-49 out of the postseason with the injuries that they're facing right now and with the trade deadline coming up, there's a million questions. Not to say they can't be overcome, but I got more questions today than I have about this team basically this year. Would you agree with that, Jim? Like, I've been relatively confident with this team, and right now they were 3 under a couple of times in the midst of 5-game losing streaks, so maybe I felt worse about this team previously, but I certainly don't feel good about them heading into the break.
I feel okay about them. I don't feel like great about them. Like they're not 4 or 5 out. They're 1 out, and they're a game above 500. They're not in the position that we would have liked them to be at the break. We said, hey, 3 games up,
We would take it.
we would take it. A game up after the 12-3 stretch, something went wrong. Like something happened, and then it did. Something did go wrong. The bar is very low in the National League. You just better hope that Arizona, New York, or St. Louis really wouldn't matter because they're in the 5th. Well, yeah, those 3 teams. If 2 of them go on a tear, you're probably screwed.
Yes. If there are 100%, you're always susceptible to a team going 9-1 behind you or directly in front of you.
Yeah.
Because again, it takes away your wiggle. Now there's 3 wildcard teams. I think you can still reach for 2 of them pretty easily as we speak today. And that would be St. Louis and whoever's in that 3rd spot right now. Is it the Mets? Or the Diamondbacks?
It's the Mets.
Okay, so right now you can reach for both the 2nd and 3rd wild card. I don't think they're going to I don't think they're going to be better than Atlanta. Let's be honest. I mean, that would surprise me if they finish the year with a better record than Atlanta.
No.
The other teams, I wouldn't be surprised if the Padres had a better record than the Cardinals, but I wouldn't be surprised vice versa if the Cardinals had a better record than the Padres. So that's kind of the state of affairs right now. Let's get back to this conversation, Jim, in a moment. But I just picked up this very large MOVA globe. In fact, look at this. I got multiple MOVA globes. And you can too, and you can get 10% off right now with promo code PWS10. Click the link in the description down below. These puppies spin based on natural or artificial light. The sun was out today, as it typically is in July in San Diego. Both of these were spinning. What I found interesting, Jim, is they were
Move your
spinning,
globe.
They were spinning in opposite directions. Mine, the Padres globe was going one direction, the other was going the other direction. I don't know how
Great.
that works.
Why are you holding
Anyway.
the globe like this? You're like, look at this cool globe. This globe
I
is
don't
really
care.
cool.
You can see.
Look at
So-
my globe.
Anyway, if you use promo code PWS10, you're going to get 10% off. Also, this technology was founded right here in San Diego. This was invented in Cardiff by the Sea. All of the Major League Baseball ones are officially licensed. Click the link in the description down below. Use promo code PWS10. You're getting 10% off. Now, this is like the 6-inch globe. Or maybe, I don't even know. Maybe this is the 8-inch globe.
This
I
is
have no
6
idea.
inch. It's a.
Okay.
I don't
So we got like the
quite know.
MLB ones are like 4.5 inches. Then they got these. Then they got larger. All of them you can get 10% off. PWS 10. Jim loves them. You'll love them too. Pick
This
'em up.
Earth globe, the Earth globe with the clouds, one of their best selling globes. Highly recommend that. It is really cool.
That's a nice looking globe, dude.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Oh, look at those baseball globes on the screen.
Oh, must be nice. If you're also a baseball fan, which everyone here is, they have a baseball globe for every single team. So if you're not a Padres fan, that's okay. Thanks for watching us still. And you can go and get a globe of your favorite baseball team or the Carina Nebula, which is
at
also
this thing.
very cool.
No cords, no batteries, rotates with light. I mean, they're really spectacular. You'll love them. Your wife will love them. Your significant other, your kids. Just a great desk piece. Really, really cool. Look at that thing. I want this one. What is this one? Oh, this is the Carina Nebula.
Yeah.
So pick them up. Use promo code PWS10. That is PWS10. Now, do you think that these two high school pitchers could save the season that the Padres drafted here tonight in rounds 1 and 2 of the Major League Baseball draft? I'm sure you saw they took Cash Mayfield with the 25th overall pick.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. And then they took someone else as well, which is great since they have multiple picks to take multiple guys.
Here's a question.
Oh, and they took Boston Bateman.
Okay. It's always funny to me, like the fact that these teams can draft these 17-year-old kids out of high school or 18-year-old kids out of high school, whatever. And you'll never see them because there's no way you're making it to whenever they're going to be ready for the big leagues. Like, think about that. Like, Preller's not going to see these guys.
Do you mean we're going to be dead? Oh,
Yeah.
You're saying that the front office.
The front office. No, anybody in that front office, no chance. So it's like,
You're saying because of where they are in their current tenure? I mean, Preller's seen a lot of these guys through.
most general managers, if you pick like a 17-year-old kid, you better have some damn good job security because more likely than not, you're not going to see them at the big league level. So
Sure.
like, what's the point? Like, why don't you go out and try to get like a 20-year-old who is more ready for the big leagues than a 17-year-old kid? I don't know. Anyway, I mean, he had great numbers.
I mean,
yeah, I get it. I understand. But again, Preller's job security, I know he's been here for well over a decade, but he ain't sitting there like, no matter what I do, I'm fine. This dude's job is, I mean, his seat is hot.
well, let me say this. Somehow this Cash Mayfield guy who isn't yet in college is 19 years and 5 months old. Like what?
Who? Wait, say that again?
Cash Mayfield is 19 years and 5 months old,
Okay.
which is shockingly old for someone coming out of high school. He was a commit to Oklahoma State. He's obviously going to sign as a first-round pick. Then the other kid, I don't know how old he was, 17 or 18. Again, even a 19-year-old, I mean, best case scenario, 2 years in the minors, 25, 26. He impacts you in some way in 2027. That's best case. I mean, there's another scenario where you never see him ever in the major leagues. But yeah, I mean, you're a couple years minimum away, even with a guy that's 19 as opposed to 17 or 18. So yeah, I don't think he's going to be here for the September stretch run this year, is my point. As he's not supposed to be, by the way. But it's hard to get excited about guys getting drafted out of high school because no one has any idea.
Yeah, and it's another point of maybe screw it, just trade Salas or DeVries. Because
you don't know.
One, you don't know. And when is Ethan Salas going to make an impact at the big league level, John? 4 years? 5 years? Well, guess what happens in that? Guess what happens in 4 or 5 years, John? Manny's out of his prime. Bogarts is out of his prime.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. I mean, that you can't concern yourself with that. Like, there'll be a new general manager maybe too.
Right, but that's also the point of like, you got to do everything you can to maximize Machado and Bogarts And I mean, I know Musgrove's not pitching and Darvish isn't pitching, but like, Cease ain't going to be here for more than next year. Luis Ariz probably won't be here for more than next year.
Michael King's only under contract through next year.
Michael King.
Yeah, but okay, your point is spot on. I get the point, but guess what? You're right. Where they may have been building around Machado and Bogarts 24 months ago, theoretically, they're then building around Tatis, Merrill, Salas, and DeVries at that point.
But like, okay, but don't you want to win right now?
What am I saying that has anything to do with not winning right now? Salas, I can't make Salas 22.
I know,
but they couldn't have drafted him 10 years. They can't make him older.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You can't make him 22. He's 18. He's not helping this team anytime soon.
So you want to move him because of that?
I'm not saying that I want to move Ethan Salas. I'm just saying if they did, then my argument would be, well, yeah, duh.
Later.
Yeah, well, duh. He's not helping the team now, and he's not helping the team in the next probably 4 or 5 years at tops. Like, when's he going to actually make an impact at the big league level? Get an impact guy here right now to try to maximize whatever you have here left of Machado's prime and Bogarts and Jurickson Profar in a good year and Dylan Cease here. Like, maximize this.
Your point is fair. We argue it. I'd rather play for now than later, but you can't be negligent. Like, that's a good way to get fired.
Well, he's going to probably get fired anyway.
I know now. He doesn't get fired, actually. But I'm just saying, historically speaking, trading away Kobe Bryant is a good way to get fired. Trading away Patrick Mahomes didn't happen. Is a good way to get fired. You know the examples of this. You pass over whomever at 2.
Those are different.
And then at 3, you have a future Hall of Famer. That's a good way to get fired. So, and I'm not saying, I don't know, Salas could be a bust. That's also a good way to get fired. Wasting first-round picks on guys that don't pan. So I'm just saying you better think long and hard about Salas and DeVries. You took them high or gave them a lot of money. They should work for you. And if they're not working for you and you're trading them away, you better be getting something real in return that's leading you pretty close to the promised land.
I get it. Just that's something that I think you have to really discuss and talk about, because you can't just all of a sudden, I don't think you can just automatically say no chance. Because what if here's the thing, John. What if you say no chance and you go, we are not trading DeVries and we are not trading Salas under any conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And you still get fired at the end of the year. Like,
Yeah, but hold on here.
And you don't make the postseason.
That doesn't actually, I would say the organization needs to protect against what you just said. The organization can't allow Preller to move Salas because the GM might get fired at the end of the year. The organization has no concern with who the general manager is in the future. The organization should be concerned about the organization. So, like, that's a very tricky spot. I said that last year. And people said, well, hold on. Preller's not going to do something that's going to jeopardize the team, even if his job's on the line. Well, are we sure about that? So this is where, like, the Eric Katsenda part of the conversation comes in. Are you willing to let AJ Preller make the moves that he may or may not want to make if he is quote unquote lame duck? That's a whole nother conversation. Let's get to some of these supers. JD Coucher, thank you. He says Cam Caminiti, Ken's cousin, was picked 24th overall by the Braves. Small world, isn't it? Baseball. A lot of the same names. That is interesting. Moises, thank you, says they were 5 games out of a playoff spot last year at the deadline. We begged them to sell Hader and Snell. Preller always thinks he's one player away. I mean, even this year, Cease, Arise, has it been a difference-making, have those been difference-making acquisitions? Or 1549?
Right. I get it. There's a lot, though, John, and it's, I think it's a good discussion, because it isn't really, I think, clear cut. Truthfully, I don't. There's
clear cut to buy or sell or move away prospects or hold on to them, or move away prospects or hold on to them.
Yeah, like, I don't think it's clear cut.
It may not be clear. I'm not saying it's clear, but I'm saying you better have this damn thing thought through.
I think the only thing that's 100%, I think, definitive is he is buying at the deadline.
It feels definitive, barring some nightmare scenario. Yeah,
barring some nightmare, right? Going 1-9 or 1-8 on that road trip.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, no, he's buying at that deadline. And I would say the second most likely scenario, in addition to buying at the deadline, is not trading Ethan Salas or Leo DeVries.
Right.
That to me is far more likely than not that those two stay with the organization. But not a guarantee. I'm not saying never say never. If it's too good to pass up, you have to seriously consider it. But how good is too good for a team that's 50 and 49? I mean, you better be getting
I know. And even if
someone
they
that,
did, you're trading away
know?
a bunch of assets to get to like what, 83 wins? 84 wins?
you better be getting someone with like 3 years of control coming back, you know?
Well, that's where the Garrett Crochet thing comes,
Yeah,
like
2+ years of control. You're right.
like, hey,
Jay
here's
Gotcha, thank you.
let me ask you
He
this.
says, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Well, let me just get to this. Remember we talked about the dude with the hardest name in the world to pronounce the other day on the wrap-up show, who the Padres were projected to draft, the ambidextrous pitcher?
Mhm.
Well, he went 15th overall to Seattle.
Oh, darn it.
Are you worried?
A little worried. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, JD Gacho. What
Thanks,
do you
JD.
want to
Guys.
ask me?
You have to pick one to trade. Salas or DeVries. Who you trading? Who you keeping?
I don't freaking know. All I've seen of these dudes is on some grainy MLB.TV video when I've talked to like our buddies in the minor leagues. I mean, no one knows that, including AJ Preller. You trade Salas, you might get lucky or unlucky, right? You trade Salas, maybe DeVries is the one you want. You trade DeVries, maybe DeVries is the one you want. No one has any clue. You can't project who of those two is going to be generational, if either. There's a chance both are, or neither, or one of them.
Right.
But under your dumb hypothetical that I'm going to answer because I like it.
Not dumb.
No, I like it. I like it. I'm good. I'm talking myself through it. I'd keep the catcher. Is what I would do. I'd keep the catcher in Salas. Now I don't think he's going to catch long term. Would be my guess. If his bat really plays, I don't think he'll catch. But I'd keep the catcher in Salas because I'd rather have that like 10-year mainstay backstop. Probably that's more desirable to me.
Yeah, I want
You?
to say DeVries really bad, but you're probably right. The thing with Salas and the thing with catchers is, the generational type of catchers, they hit right away. Adley Rutschman, JT Realmuto, Buster
True.
Posey, like they hit right away. But if you aren't one of those generational guys, Pudge, right? Dude, it's going to take a long time, man. A catcher, it's such a difficult position. And being so young, like he might not fully blossom until 25 years old, 24 years old. That's in 6 years.
Yeah, the average catcher would be like 24 plus to fully blossom. Yeah, that's 6 years. There's guys that have done it quicker, but not much quicker. 21, 22 would be really quick. That's 3 or 4 years.
6 years, dude. 6
Yeah,
years
but
was
6 years, but
2018 here.
I know, and 6 years in the future is 2030. To your point, but
I'm
and
saying
again,
how much has
your
changed
point,
in 6 years.
no, your point's spot on. But I'm just saying, if you could fast forward to 2030, like just hear from the organization's perspective. Let's say you're right; he doesn't make an impact until 2030, a meaningful all-star type impact until 2030. But if he did it for 10 more years, who cares when he first makes his impact? Like if it starts in 2030 and runs through 2040, organizationally, you should be fine with that. If you've got a 10-time all-star catcher beginning in 2030, then you got to wait. That's just like you don't trade him because he doesn't make an impact until 2030. He's going to make an impact before 2030, by the way.
But here's another.
Yeah.
Like this organization, they view Salas and DeVries very highly. And I bet a lot of people in baseball do as well. What if they bring in a new GM and they don't feel the same way? That has happened a lot, by the way. I mean, it's not something that's like unprecedented.
Walk me through this. So the organization internally doesn't see Salas as a future all-star caliber catcher in your mind. This theoretical.
Correct.
The new GM, Darnay Tripp, comes in and says, this guy is not who they thought they got.
Right.
And what's the negative? Because go down your path. That's bad because of what? because
That's
that's only the internal belief. Externally, they're going to hype this guy up like he's Johnny Bench. Even if they
Right.
believe that, they'll still move him for top value in 2025. His value will not decrease between 2024 and 2025.
here's where it's bad. If Preller's gone in 2 years and they keep Ethan Salas, he will not be here in 2 years. I mean, maybe he is, but I just don't see him making a big impact here. Okay.
You're saying Salas.
Salas.
Mhm.
And DeVries, honestly.
Yep.
Like Preller's gone in 2 years and he kept those guys and they've been in the minors, right? And if he traded one of those guys, maybe he does get Garrett Crochet or he does get so-and-so, like a top pitcher, right? And maybe that does help this team make the postseason. Like, then what was the point of keeping them if you're gone? And then the new guy doesn't like them, and then they're gone after that, and the team is now in a rebuild mode because everybody's older.
And that we're waiting.
Why is your
Oh.
mic shitty?
Hold on, I think I screwed something up
Your mic has been kind of shit,
today.
like right now.
Hold on, stand by. How about now?
It's fine.
But now we're down a crazy like hypothetical.
I know,
aren't we?
but I
Preller's here
think
in 2 years, and the guy doesn't make an impact, and now there's a new
but
GM, and the
that's
players
something
have
you
the
got to
same
think
value.
about, dude.
I'm not thinking about that.
I'm thinking about
Who's
now,
thinking about
though.
that?
I'm thinking about now.
Let me get to some of these supers. I don't even know how to react to that. Richard, thank you.
What? It's not. Do you think
No,
it's
it's not
stupid?
crazy. It's just I'm saying it's down such a path that I can't get there right now with that path. I'll worry about that in a year. If Preller's not going to be gone in 2 years, Jim. He's either gone now or he's here in 2 years, right?
Well,
He
I
doesn't
said
make the postseason this year and leave in 2 years. And if he misses the postseason right now, he's gone.
2 years because that's when his contract's up.
It doesn't matter because
Okay.
it's more likely he's gone now or not gone now than he's gone in 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Richard, thank you. He says getting healthy is our key. You have no depth at AAA, and what can AJ offer the deadline without emptying the farm system? Getting healthy is your key. Yeah, I agree. I think health is way more impactful than anything you can do at the deadline. I don't even think it's close.
Yeah, I mean, if Luis Ariz turns back into the guy that he
Yeah,
was when he
it's
first
350.
got here, and if Manny Machado's elbow feels better, and Joe Musgrove magically returns and pitches like 2022 Joe, and who else is injured? Tatis
Interesting.
returns. I forgot about
Yeah.
him.
Yeah,
Like
that's a big
his
one.
leg doesn't fall off.
Right.
Then yeah, you feel pretty good. But those are such big ifs, dude. Those are such big ifs.
Those are big ifs.
Big ifs.
HBBBV says Padres Instagram have beef with Manny. They don't tag him.
They tag him all the time.
Yeah, no, he gets tagged. He gets
Manny's
tagged.
always reposting Padres content on his Instagram.
Is he? I
page.
don't follow.
Yeah,
I don't
he's
follow players
always
on Instagram.
he's always posting from the Padres. That's it.
All right, so there are 3 Padres that are heading to the All-Star game because Arise is bailing and sat today, which ultimately is probably good, Jim, because you're giving him 5 days off. Sunday,
Well, he's
Monday, Tuesday,
going.
Wednesday, Thursday.
He's a part of
Well, whatever.
festivities.
But you know what I mean. He's not playing. I'm sorry. You have 3 that are playing. You have Robert Suarez, who may or may not appear, and then you've got Profar and Merrill. Now, Darnay Tripp, NBC7. By the way, we're going to be on with Darnay tonight. 2
In like
birds, 1 stone.
In like a little
45.
under 45. Yeah, 45 minutes.
11:30, right?
11:35.
Okay, 11:35 in Sports Wrap. Turn it on, NBC7, or record
Yes.
it on like your Roku or DVR, because it's Sports Wrap with John and Jim. And Darnay Tripp, he asked us this question: who are you most excited to see? Is it Profar or is it Merrill? Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for
I
that.
mean, we can.
And
I-
also stay
cool
tuned
for
for
both.
who's the most impactful Padre in the second half.
Ooh, I like that. Good tease.
Good tease. Yeah,
Well,
everybody
then we don't
tune
have
in
to
tonight.
answer. We don't have to answer then Merrill or Profar, but let's just comment on both. It's an amazing accomplishment for both. Merrill because he's so young
Yeah.
and he's done it at such a young age. And we had the tweet from AJ Cassavell where it's like a handful of guys that have done it at a younger age than Merrill in the last 40 years. And then Profar, it's amazing because he was, a 10-year major leaguer that never got close to an All-Star game, and here he is in his 30s on this $1 million deal, putting up some of the better numbers in the National League. He's a top 10 player right now in the National League. So, to each their own, so to speak, because both have done it and both have been really impressive in the process.
Yeah, both guys. I mean, that's just something you have, like the feel good story in Jurickson Profar, and you have the potential, like, future of your franchise in Jackson Merrill. And they're both all-stars this year. And from an organization standpoint, you're like, we fucking knocked it out of the park here. Just because we signed Profar to a 1-year deal, boom, all-star. We brought up Jackson Merrill at 20 years old, put him in a new position, boom, all-star. Boom, check.
Boom check.
You traded for a guy in Luis Rise, all-star, boom, check. You gave Robert Suarez a bunch of money and made him your closer. He's an all-star, boom, check. Tatis, even though he can never stay healthy, he's under that massive contract. All-star, boom, check.
Boom check.
So,
but the problem is, you're right. And then the boom check is like 50 and 49. And that's what we've said all along. It's like all the individual accomplishments are impressive, but at the end of the day, don't hold water organizationally. Merrill can win the Rookie of the Year. It's unlikely because of Paul Skeens, but that's not going to save AJ Preller, I don't think, if this team's 81 and 81. Jurickson Profar can hit 310 with a 900 OPS. If they don't make the postseason, I don't think that saves AJ Preller. But individually, you're right. There have been a lot of really impressive accomplishments. I mean, Robert Suarez's year has been incredible. Jeremiah Estrada has had a very nice year, has not been nearly as good recently as he was earlier. But they've had some really good stories. They have. I think the trades have provided real value, although Arise has fallen off, maybe because of injury. And Cease has been up and down.
It is, though, it's frustrating because while there are individual accomplishments with things, and what we just talked about was all great, like, none of it fucking matters unless you make the postseason. And that's where this organization has a really, really hard time because of prospect rankings and like signing superstar players, having Jackson Merrill be really good, Jurickson Profar, right? Like Blake Young won the Cy Young. Those are all cool. Guess what? You missed the postseason. No one gives a shit. And the problem is the organization is going to tell you that you should care about those things, but nobody will because you're not making the postseason. I mean, some will, obviously. Like, fans are like, yeah, this is really cool. And I get it. I understand. Like, of course you should be. But at the end of the day, bottom line, fans want this team to be in the postseason consistently. They don't want to hear about prospect rankings, right? They don't want to hear about, oh, we signed this really cool player. Like, oh, this guy made the all-star team. Jackson Merrill's really cool. Like, did you make the postseason or not?
And what's the answer?
We don't know.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know. I mean, it could be all. I mean, she'll double down on that today, by the way, saying, hey, we feel good about where we are and reaching our goals, which is to make the postseason and make a run, which is our goal. He said that. I'm paraphrasing, but he said, our goal, where we got to get, is the postseason. Like, they know it. Contenda said it in February. We're all accountable for the team's success or failure. He wasn't talking about going 81 and 81. He was talking about getting into the postseason. And they might be fortunate if they do win 83 games, and that's enough. And that does get them into the postseason. But they know that they need to get in. Otherwise, I don't know if it's the proverbial heads will roll, but I think there's going to be real change.
Dude, you missed the postseason. Guess what? And by you, I mean Schultz. If you expect to go on that stage and spin that shit, you're in for it, dude. And it will probably be your last post-game press conference as well, or last press conference with the media here, because you can't do that if you miss the postseason. No one will care, and you will get eviscerated. And guess what? We will probably be the first ones to do it.
All right, we're going to get back to this in a moment. We do want to remind you about Underdog Fantasy. Take a watch of this Home Run Derby special going on for tomorrow night. They've got a free pick for the Home Run Derby going on tomorrow night. Use promo code PODSWRAP. That's PADSWRAP. PODSWRAP. PADSWRAP. Scan the QR code on the screen. You're getting a free pick for the Home Run Derby, which is Gunnar Henderson of Baltimore over a half home run. He will do that. Pair that with something else. You're a winner.
He didn't.
He's going to hit a home run tomorrow. Isn't that cool?
That's, yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool. So let's explain. If you use promo code PODSWRAP, PADSWRAP, you get a free special pick for tomorrow's Home Run Derby. Pair it with anything else, you can get a win. And you get a 50% deposit match up to $250. Deposit $50, they'll give you $25. Deposit $500, they'll give you $250. You get the free pick 'em. We've been playing Underdog Fantasy Gym for a long time. Simple, easy, best and easiest place to play fantasy sports, play across sports. We've had some big wins. You've had a couple of $400 hits during the Padres season so far this year. You guys can too.
Yeah. Promo code PODSWRAP. Right there. Right there. Scan the QR code. Scan the QR code. Scan the QR code. Download Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code PODSWRAP. Sign up now.
Dude's hitting half home run tomorrow. I can feel it. Look at that dude.
Yeah,
He's
no
jacked.
shit he is.
He's hitting a half home run.
Yeah.
Team's scorching hot, by the way, Baltimore.
Do you have the DVR set for a big sports wrap appearance tonight?
Well, we're up. I think I'm just gonna watch it.
True.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna watch it.
Kristen doesn't want you to like DVR it for her.
No, Kristen doesn't usually concern herself with anything that I do. No, I'm kidding in saying that, but yeah, we can DVR it. She'll watch. Jones will watch. Are you going to wake Aaron at 11:35? Just jump like into the bed and be like, Aaron, like start screaming and then turn on NBC7.
Probably not. She'll probably be sleeping.
I mean, probably. She's sleeping right now, right?
Who are we kidding? This is a massive rating spike for sports wrap tonight. Just like every time Darnay's on with us, massive rating spike. Tonight with Darnay, massive rating spike. Everyone's gonna be watching.
Everyone.
Everybody. Everyone.
I agree. All right, guys. I don't know the next time we're gonna do a show at some point over this All-Star break, right, Jim? Maybe a morning show.
How about this? How about Wednesday morning, the wrap-up show, we recap the All-Star game.
Ooh.
Or we do I mean, we're gonna do that on John and Jim too, but like
I think I have a dentist appointment.
Okay. Then you want to do Wednesday night, maybe?
Yeah, maybe Wednesday night. I think Wednesday night's better anyway for our viewers who are so conditioned for 9:30 shows.
Are you doing anything Wednesday night?
No, you're not.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm seeing a dentist at 10 a.m. Wednesday. Let's say Wednesday night, 9:30. We'll recap the All-Star game. We'll look ahead to the second half. We'll talk some trade deadline because that's what people will be talking about. Get you ready for that 9-game roadie. And we'll talk about the trade deadline. We'll talk about Merrill's 2 home run game in the All-Star game, Profar's 2 home run game as well in Texas. Let me get to the super here from HBBV. I don't know who Dig Watch is, but I'd be happy to do a collab with them.
Dig Watch?
I don't know who that is. I'll send us cookies? Okay.
Do you mean Hog Watch?
Dig Watch? I didn't even think about that when you put that up. That's funny. I don't know. Now, are you considering a PlayStation for EA Sports College Football 25 that has nothing to do with the wrap-up show, but is so compellingly awesome? I wish they had it on a portable. Because I'd buy a portable.
Here's the thing.
Do you have $600 right now?
That's the problem.
You're saying if you were $1 million, if you were making $600K a year, you'd buy this thing in 2 seconds, right?
I already have it. Yeah.
Right.
If I wasn't going to Italy in 3 weeks.
Oh.
But I, have things I got to do for Italy. So
what are things you have to do for Italy? You mean spend money?
That's the thing. That's
right.
The exact thing right there. Spend all the money.
So no.
So no. Wrap up show, the appearance of John and Jim on Sports Wrap. We'll have NBC7 doing a 10 or Nielsen scale. Yeah.
Well, it probably trips. It normally does an 11, so it'll probably drop a little bit.
Ours will be we'll have the decline ratings, unfortunately.
Probably. Guys, I told you about this earlier. Jim hasn't even signed up yet, but it's pretty cool. I see about 50.
I may never sign up.
That's fine. That's fine because I'll explain why that might be actually a good thing to our people that are in there. But I think there's about 15 of you in there right now. So you can join the Wrap Up Show Discord server right now. Keep the Padres talk going. We're learning about Discord, and by we, I mean I am, but it's a really cool place. It's just like a message board that's specific to the Wrap Up Show. Like, so a lot of Padres talk. There's room for other San Diego sports talk as well. Click the link in the description down below. It's free to sign up. Talk more with the Wrap Up Show community. I mean, all day and night. Why not? And it's also pinned at the top of the live chat. But you can click that link in the description down below. Free Padres content discussion going on all day and all night, 24/7, 365. Is there anything better than that? So join the Wrap Up Show community in our Discord channel. Although I might bar you from joining.
Okay. I might have to join this.
You're gonna have to check it
when
out.
When I have a 1 a.m. thought about the Padres, I'll just put it in the chat.
Be like, here's my wedding. Here's my wedding video.
Yeah, by the way, guys,
Impact Jerks and Profar.
Just a heads up, go follow me on Instagram at Jim Russell SD so you can watch my amazing wedding video.
Yeah.
By our amazing videographer Kylie Films.
Oh yeah, you'll probably get 10% off your next wedding by mentioning her.
Yeah. So just guys, look, just go follow me on Instagram at Jim Russell SD. My wedding video's up. Go like my video. Go watch the video. It's only 10 minutes long.
It's only 10. Here's my plea for you to follow me on Instagram. I won't have that wedding video on my Instagram page. So follow at John Schaefer if you don't want that. But it was very well done. I watched the entire thing.
Did you?
Now, was it long? It was really long.
Well, we paid a lot of money for it.
Really long.
But you were in a lot of it.
No, I was expecting to be a little more for it to be 10 minutes. No, now my voice was in it for one moment, like You May Now Kiss the Bride or something, maybe.
Yeah.
Which was nice.
See, I think we're getting everything. Like we're paying extra money to get like all the speeches and everything. I think we might be doing the vows. I don't know. Then you'd be in it, like the whole thing, and your joke about the 49ers and stuff.
That would be amazing. I'll watch that. Please post that on the internet. That's good content. Twitter at John Schaefer at Jim Russell SD. Instagram at John Schaefer at Jim Russell SD. Give us a follow. In fact, if you follow us right now on Instagram, we'll give you a shout out right now on the Wrap Up Show. So keep an eye on your Instagram.
Shout out to Cutie Fam 1029. Just followed me on Instagram. Thank you, buddy.
Oh, shout out to Pamela Anderson. Thank you for the follow.
Oh, it's Quan. Thanks, Quan.
Oh yeah, I just got a follow from. Is that a Cutie Fam 1029?
Dude, I'm liking these food pics, bro.
What, Quan's?
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
Damn, this looks good.
That's very good.
Half the stuff you can't eat, John, but
no, all of it.
All this food you're posting, Quan.
It looks really nice. Thank you, Quan.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Quan, I just gave you a follow back. Thank you, man.
Hold on. No, we did not bring our MOVA globes on tonight's sports wrap.
We should have. That's smart.
Yeah, we'll bring them on. We'll go back in time.
I didn't realize. I mean, it's obviously been a kind of newsworthy sports weekend, but I saw the Richard Simmons news. I didn't realize Shannon Doherty had a long battle with cancer. That's sad. That's really sad.
R.I.P. Richard Simmons in the chat. If you know, you know.
Oh yeah, he's Richard Simmons. That's right. That
we had
our existence with the spam.
Yeah. We had our run in with Richard Simmons. Also, R.I.P. to Jacoby Jones. Did you see that?
Passed away at 40. That story. I saw that. What was the circumstance?
I didn't see, but he really pissed me off in 2012. Like I did not like Jacoby Jones.
Ravens, right? Passed away peacefully at his home in New Orleans.
That's weird.
Yeah. That is weird. All right. So Where were we? Oh, I know where we were. We're on tomorrow. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Please be with us. We'll get you ready for the Derby and the All-Star game. We'll look back at the first half. We'll look ahead to the trade deadline and that looming 9-game roadie. I mean, what a road trip out of the break for the Padres that we'll get into tomorrow on John and Jim, iHeartRadio app, San Diego Sports 760. Search for John and Jim 760 on YouTube. And then join us here on the wrap-up show Wednesday night at 9:30. A look back at the All-Star game. Look ahead to the second half for
I got another
the
follow.
Padres.
Another follow
Okay, tell us
from Sarah. So
Oh,
I don't know if you're watching, but shout out Sarah.
yeah. Shout out Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. Okay, so subscribe. You're on content for Padres fans. Smash the like button for us. Follow us on X or Instagram at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. Thank you for the super thanks if you're here on replay. Thank you for those that become members. You get custom emojis and badges. You can click the join button down below. Check us out on Discord. Click the link in the description down below. Keep the conversation going 24/7, 365. And thank you for your support of our sponsors. Yeah, it's been a very long show. You're right, 90 minutes.
Well,
Thank you,
you're
Rich.
not getting one really for the rest of the week, except for one time. So
Wednesday, Friday.
yeah, gotta.
Thank you to our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. If you have an insurance need, Mark's going to hook you up. Mova Globes. Use promo code PWS10. Get 10% off. Click the link in the description down below. Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code PODSWRAP. That's PADSWRAP. And get that free special pick, Gunnar Henderson over a half home run. I'm feeling it tomorrow in the home run derby, plus the 50% deposit match. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow on the radio at 3 p.m. For Jim, I'm John. This has been the wrap-up show. Thanks so much.